Hey, happy afternoon to you. Maybe it's early afternoon for you. No, later afternoon for you if you're in California. Pacific Standard Time. I'm here. It is, hi, John. It is the evening time here. I'm going to invite John Kohler. We're going to talk, intentional about your daily living, habits, and more. And I'm super stoked to talk to him. And there's his garden. Not surprisingly so. There's your garden and there's John. Hey, John, what's up?
Good. I'm good. Just
How's
getting back from shopping.
Do what?
Just got back from shopping a little bit earlier, and now I get to deal with produce.
Yes. That's life, though. We're going to talk about that. Hold on. Let me put in the chat, because we're also going to be talking about the awesome Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle. Raw Vegan Bundle. Putting that in the chat so that people know about it after having this awesome conversation. Okay. All right, John. So this is so funny. You, I think, are one of the first people, and yes, I'm going to walk on my treadmill while I'm talking to you, by the way. You were one of the first people that I started following on YouTube. Like, when did you start your YouTube channel? Because I literally think I was one of your first people.
My YouTube channels, I started approximately, I don't keep the exact date, but it's like approximately 15 years ago.
Right. Like forever ago. And now I'm literally here on Instagram with you having a conversation. You were one of the people that actually inspired me to start growing food. And we now have a farm and we sell produce at the farmer's market. And like, you are a huge part of that. You need to know that. And I'm super stoked to be talking to you.
Well, I'm so glad I can inspire you and all the other people that watch my YouTube channel. I mean, I'm just here to share what I'm doing in my life, and hopefully it could help others and get them on a healthier path.
I love it. And you are just, for those people who are watching this, or even people who really know you and that are your followers already, like, I want to kind of talk about your life and how you got into gardening and eating clean, and because you're so good at it and you create this amazing content and share it with the world and inspire people and show up with energy, and you're just so informative and such a helpful human being. It's incredible. Can I ask you, like, where in the world this all started for you? Because you and I are you're in the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle. I'm in the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle. We collided there, and it's almost over, guys, by the way. If you're watching this, it's going to be gone forever on May 11th. So as we chat, we're going to talk more about the bundle, but we're really going to talk about lifestyle today, because what we eat is just part of the lifestyle, right? And we need to kind of connect to our food in a different way, and hopefully we can inspire you to have good habits and hopefully grow some food along the way. So John, where did it all start for you? Like, how did you get into growing food and eating natural food?
Yeah, sure. Those are two questions. So the first thing is, how did I get into eating, more natural or real food? And basically that's because I had a health crisis and almost lost my life. When I was younger, I had spinal meningitis. The doctor said it was caused by complement immune deficiency. And basically, luckily only through higher powers, because the doctors had no treatment for me to get me better, to guarantee I was going to walk out of the hospital. I had to figure out on my own, like, how can I learn how to improve my immune system so that I don't end up in the hospital, because the doctors do not have the answer for me, and that set me on this whole crazy course. And that's why I still do what I do, because I almost lost my life. And, most people, I see people smoking all the time and doing all these things to their lives. And, I go to the grocery store like I did today and see people with junk food in their carts. And they're really hurting their health. But like, the sad thing to me is that they don't know, what that is doing to them. Right.
Right.
And luckily I had the opportunity. Hey, Nico, my nephew just joined. Yeah.
I love that.
But like, luckily, at a young age, I had the opportunity to see that I almost lost my life, to value my life more than anything else in the world, even money, which is hard for some people to rationalize. You know, I'd rather have my health than all the money in the world, because without your health, you can't even enjoy all the money in the world. And in our society, it's unfortunate that people just want to get rich, and they trash their health just to get rich, which is their
Right.
right. You know, that's what they want to do with their life. Whatever people want to do with their life is cool with me. I'm just doing what's important to me, and it's my health and enjoying life, enjoying nature, and all that. So that's how it really got me started into eating, you know, a plant-based, raw, vegan diet. You know, as many people that follow me may know, that I've started to include small amounts of heat processed foods, you know, in very select ways, and select, for that matter. I don't just go out and pig out at any restaurants. I still don't eat out at restaurants unless it's a raw restaurant. And actually, me, my homemade stuff makes me feel better. That's a different discussion topic. And then you also asked about, why do I grow food? So, you know, ever since I became a homeowner, I started growing my own food in a small way. But then, you know, along my journey of eating a plant-based, raw, vegan diet, I've always tried to like improve, like how can I up the bar just a little bit, because a 1% improvement today over the lifetime could be a huge improvement, you know, in the long run. You know, so I've always been looking at like little ways to improve my diet. And I mean, I was shocked at the time when I started gardening in a bigger way, you know, because I always had a few tomato plants like most people, you know, around their house, because if you have a house, you can grow a few things. But I got really into gardening because of a guy who's also a raw vegan, has been doing it longer than I have now, actually. He's not on any social media, though, named Don Weaver. And Don would grow his own fruits and vegetables with this stuff called rock dust, which I mention a lot in my,
I
on my
remember
channel.
when you talked about this on your YouTube channel, like forever ago. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So he basically fed me some homegrown food grown with rock dust, and I'm used to getting organic food like at the farmer's market. I'm like, wow, Don, your zucchini actually tastes really sweet and delicious, unlike any zucchini that you know, I mean, frankly, I don't care for like zucchini too much, because it just seems like a blah vegetable. I mean, yeah, it's all right. You can flavor it up, but never really have I bitten into one. It's like, oh yeah, this is like so amazing, you know? But when
Right.
I bit into his zucchinis, you know, in other food that he grew, I was like, wow, this really tastes better than anything I've had before. And then he's going into how these are, you know, the rock dust is trace minerals, that adds more minerals into your food. And then, you know, obviously being into raw foods, you want the most, you know, living foods, with photons or prana chi, whatever you want to call it, you know, most alive food. So, you know, something you pick and harvest. I mean, I could pick these guys right here. These are like bok choy flowering tops. They look like little like broccolis, but they don't get that big. And I just picked it like just now, and now I'm eating it. I mean, that's
Yes.
the freshest stuff you could get. You know, I mean, that's how nature would work. Nature would not work that there's grocery stores on every corner, or, you know, that we'd be able to buy food. You know, we would just be wild harvesting stuff. I mean, then we got into agriculture and started growing things, so I could grow my own food in my garden, pick it fresh, have higher quality food, put trace minerals in the soil that, or even organic farmers are not doing, and even add, you know, different microbes and fungi and bacteria and archaea into my soil to have, you know, really, really healthy plants that are then going to produce more of the secondary plant metabolites that then I could eat, and then I could get these compounds into me. And some of these secondary plant metabolites, you know, could be things like isothiocyanates, lycopene, beta carotene. These could be in higher levels in my plants, especially because here in the desert, my plants get stressed out a lot. And when they're stressed out, they make more of these compounds that can have health benefits for us, be anti-cancer, anti-disease, anti-aging, and even feed our microbiome.
Ooh,
So that's
I didn't.
the story.
I didn't know that. I knew that like when peppers were stressed, they contain more capsaicin, but I didn't know that like there are other plants that, you know, other things, other phytonutrients get elevated in them, maybe like lycopene and stuff like that. That's super interesting. Cool. Okay, so you started growing your own food. Did you feel better when you made a lifestyle change?
I mean, I did like before I got into raw foods, I did colon cleansing and then just went raw. And then, you know, I mean, over time, I felt a lot better. And like, it's hard say like what I would feel like if I continued on my path, just eating standard American diet. I mean, I'd probably be overweight. I'd probably be pretty unhealthy. I mean, I mean, the only direct comparison I could say is that like my brother, I love my brother, of course, but he's, he just eats a standard American diet, basically. I mean, he eats out a lot and I can see all the health challenges that he's going through in his life, aches, pains and things. And I mean, I'm just glad I don't have those things. And that probably would have been me. And I would have been, overweight and all these things. And, but I don't know what happened because that's not the route I chose to do with my life. And whatever route anybody wants to do with their life, hey, if they want to eat the junk food and feel not so good, that's their right because they love the flavor. They're going to give up their health. Dude, that's like fine with me, man. I don't really care what people do. I mean, but I would just want people to show people what is possible and, how much more health you could have, how much more vibrancy you could have. And, how much of a, I mean, I would say like, how much nicer of a time you'll have in life, I think, just being more balanced, eating, more grounding foods and spending more time in nature. I mean, I'm sitting next to my, these are my tree collards right here, and they're going to flower. I let them go to seed every year because I get a hybrid cross between the tree collard, which is a perennial collard green that grows year round. The plants, well, this plant, it's falling over, but I need to pin it up. But it's like, I don't know, 10 feet tall.
What does it cross with?
Oh, so I don't know. It's just natural crosses, So it's like. It's any other brassicas in my garden right now, so I have a lot of different brassicas. I mean, I hope it's going to cross with, and I don't know how that works because the bees just do all the pollination. I hope it crosses with like something like the Mizuna or the Napa cabbage or the bok choy, if that's possible. I've had it crossed before with like the ornamental kales, which I really get some nice ones. I also have it crossed before with dinosaur kale, so I'll get like a tree collard kind of like tall plant that grows multi-years that makes these nice, dinosaur kale-ish leaves. So it's kind of fun. I like to see what nature's going to do when they're getting promiscuous in my garden.
I love it. That's so fun, though. I love that. So for me, my journey, like, to plant-based eating, and I will say, we're here talking about the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle, but I don't live 100% raw lifestyle, but I have lived raw multiple years out of the like 13 plus years I've been eating plants. And for me, like you said, like if I would have kept going on that lifestyle, I definitely would have been overweight. I was at like a borderline, going up toward being overweight. I was so inflamed. I felt terrible. My stomach hurt every time I ate. I laid down on the couch all the time after I ate. And I thought that was normal. And you're sitting here talking, John, about how, it's totally cool what people want to do with their life. And it's totally true. But I didn't even realize that there was literally a whole other life on the other side. And I also felt super bad about myself because I couldn't stop when it came to cookies or blizzards or like anything that was highly processed, highly palatable, sugar, oil, salt. I thought that there was like something wrong with me, but really it was that I was truly addicted to the dopamine hit that I was getting from these processed foods, and I couldn't break free. And then I finally did. Dairy was the last thing that I released from my eating pattern because I was super highly addicted to that. But like the brain fog lifted, the inflammation went down. I lost some weight. I just felt like I was so young again. And my sister was like, "What happened to you?" And I'm like, literally I feel like I'm 10 years younger. And I'm just so thankful that I found whole natural plant eating. It's just game changing. So if anybody's listening to this conversation, we're just here to help you feel a little bit more like connected to human existence. And what that means is that we have to break free from these foods that are made in factories and out of chemicals and, pumped with antibiotics and pesticides. If you're eating the standard American diet, it's just really hard to see the other side because you don't know how good it can be. But I'm just going to give you the nudge to give yourself 7-10 days, give yourself a reset, see how it feels, and then continue giving yourself the chance to invest in yourself and change your life. And this bundle that we're in, John, you and I, it's such an amazing resource for people who want to kickstart their health, or if they're already living a raw lifestyle, a raw vegan lifestyle, or a plant-based lifestyle, a vegan lifestyle, whatever you want to call it, whatever you're doing right now in your life. This bundle is so valuable because you're getting so much content. You're getting recipes from John. We're getting, information from me as a nutritionist, breaking down what happens in your body when you eat plants, the benefits, and then you're getting 30 recipes, all raw vegan, everything's oil-free, and then we have over 400 other recipes in this amazing collaboration of foodies and nutritionists and mindset coaches and even some business coaches and just chefs, and it's just incredible and so inspiring. And when you submerge yourself with people like this, when you start following these people on Instagram, following these people on YouTube, you're going to create an environment of success to support your journey to better living. So this bundle is just incredibly valuable, and it's so awesome because you and I, as humans who've never met, get to meet each other and share this information with the world. So it's just so awesome.
Yeah, I would say that the bundle is the best deal. If somebody wants to try to even experiment with eating more plant foods, more raw vegan foods, and see how good they could feel, is, the best thing they should do is buy the bundle. You put the link right there in the bio or whatever, and the link's in my bio too. But the thing is, people don't understand there's 40 different ebooks and courses, including things on yoga, how to make more money, your ebook there, a lot of different recipes, and there's books on how to go raw, do a 7-day raw reset. There's a book on that in there. There's a book by Matt talks about 5-star salad revolution. He did 198 pages, almost 200 pages of information on why the greens that don't give you that dopamine hit are so critical for our health, right? Even if you're on a raw vegan diet, you could still be addicted to sugar, eating dates, eating a lot of, dried fruits, or even just pigging out and eating too many fruits. I'm not going to say fruits are bad, but too many fruits. Right. If you're overeating fruits, by definition, overeating fruits means you're eating too many of them, right? And not eating enough vegetables. That's not optimal either, So, in the book, Matt's book goes into detail why you're really not into greens and why you should be into them. That could just save somebody right there from going, making one of those videos why I'm no longer raw vegan. It could be because you're not eating enough vegetables and leafy greens. There's many reasons.
Right. Yeah. I haven't read Matt's thing yet, but I'm sure he probably talks about thylakoids and weight loss and all of the different elements that and nitric oxide, probably all these things that people don't know about, but how critical these greens are. And you're so right. Whenever I do eat raw or, go away from my starches, my sweet potatoes and my beans and stuff like that, because those are more sweet potatoes than beans are staples in my diet. But when I do go raw, which is intermittently, right now I'm raw and I have a ridiculous amount of energy. As you can see, I'm walking on my treadmill and I feel like I could go forever. But I do tend to lean a lot on fruits, and that's, you have to kind of find a balance. So after, a decade or so of trying raw intermittently, I have found that when I do add more leafy greens, even just carrots, root vegetables, I feel more grounded. I feel like I don't have to gorge on fruit, even though fruit's amazing, right? But it's just more balanced, and I feel well. I feel better that way. Have you tried Lissa's wraps? I know that you guys have been hiking.
Well, we haven't hiked lately, but I was over there a week or two ago, and actually, I made a video with her making her wraps and eating her wraps, and they were amazing.
Oh my God!
Wraps alone will get you eating more vegetables because it makes eating vegetables fun. Salads, they're boring. But Lissa's wrap book, it's takes it to the next level because now the wrap is just reminds you of eating like a burrito and just something fun. And then you got the sauces in there. She goes over all the how to make the sauces and what to fill it with. They look amazing. They taste amazing. And they're just, her wraps are the best. Like, people just got to buy the bundle for her wrap book. Seriously.
They are dangerous for me. Like, they are dangerous.
That's a good thing. Eat more wraps.
They are so, like, it tricks my brain. It takes me back to the bar when I, after a night of drinking, like, and I'm just like, what is even happening? This is so good. Like, my husband was gone for a full week, and he came home from out of town, and I had all these wraps made, and he's like, what is even going on? Like, I was like, I am making wraps. Like, these are so good. And he ate it, and he was like, oh my God, like his mind was blown. And I haven't even like done the full blown thing. I haven't done, the specific flavor of wrap that Lisa has put with the specific flavor of fillings and the specific sauce to go with it. I honestly feel like that might just be too much dopamine for me because these are so good, you guys. So like John said, truly, like, just getting the bundle just for Lissa's wrap book is, I mean, it's insane. The value that she has put in there. There's videos on how to make these wraps perfectly, on troubleshooting, and it's a huge thing that she's been working on for probably a decade. She said, just trying to make this like perfect wrap book, and it's out, and it's well worth more than $50. I mean, it's well worth more than that. So plus when people get the bundle, they're going to get Lissa's wrap book plus 39 other contributions. So it's just like a no-brainer. And there's just about 48 hours left to get it. So make sure that if you guys are listening and you want to elevate your lifestyle that's already healthy, or take it up, like you want to do a whole 360 and have a totally different life in a year from now, make sure you get the bundle at the link in our bio. Somebody asked, do we like pesto? John, do you make and eat pesto very often?
So actually, right when I was waiting for you, I was taking the shade cloth off my basil because I bought these plants from the store that are meant to be just cut and eaten. They're grown hydroponically, and I put them in my garden, and then I had to basically like put the shade cloth over them so they don't die instantly because they're not used to being grown outside. And I took it off just now. So when I have a lot of basil, I mean, I don't make pesto in a traditional way. Traditional pesto is like they use oil as the base, right?
Right. And Parmesan cheese.
And Parmesan cheese, yeah. So I mean, usually what I'll do is I like to kind of like make it a little bit different. So like I'll use a juice. So like if I have sugarcane juice laying around, I'll use sugarcane juice as the base. I'll blend up the basil in there, and then I'll put in like some pine nuts or walnuts or macadamia nuts, and then some garlic. And I mean, that's a pesto. I mean, I'm sure it tastes nothing like what the real one tastes like, but
it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. When you decide to take control of your health, and you're like, you're experimenting with cooking without added salt, oil, and sugar, which are literally just like the chemicals that hijack our taste buds. When you decide that you're gonna eat whole natural foods, like, you just got to roll with it in the kitchen. You just got to be like, I am going to make this. It's going to be out of basil, which is like the premise of pesto, and we're going to reinvent it, right? We're going to make it our own. I have definitely, for me, I've definitely had some failed recipes of pesto that I've tried to make. Like, I will try to make it out of different herbs aside from basil. I made a garlic scape pesto not that long ago. That was really good. But yeah, I'm not a regular pesto eater, but it sounds like John's got a good, I like the sugarcane juice idea. Do you have a sugarcane juice machine?
I do. I have two of them, unfortunately. I only should have one.
God, of course you do.
I'm the juice guy. Come on, I got every juice in the world almost.
You have everything. I know. It's so incredible. So let's talk, okay, we'll go back to gardening here in a minute, but I do have questions about your YouTube because I think it's so fun to learn the history. Like, why did you start the YouTube? Did you just want people to like learn about growing food? Because you really inspired me, and I'm guaranteeing you, it was well over a decade I started following you. Like, it was probably right before I went fully plant-based. That was like 13 years. I think I started following your YouTube like really at the beginning.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of things in life, I only get started when something pisses me off, unfortunately. That's just the way I'm programmed for whatever reason. Actually, two of my channels, some of my first videos is because I was pissed off. So like my gardening channel, I was kind of upset that this family in Southern California called the Gervais family, they basically, they did in their front yard and backyard what I wanted to do is have all raised beds and like basically make a little farm, which actually they have a little house and have a farm at their house. They don't like grow it just for personal use like I do. And like they didn't make videos for whatever reason to show people how to do what they did. And I'm like, man. And then I think I asked them to come down and visit their place so I could see what they did. And they just said, no, if you're not like CNN, you can't come down. I'm like, man, this is, and then they have all these little short clips on CNN making them all popular and famous and stuff. And like, they're not showing anybody how to do it. I'm like, this is bullshit. This pisses me off. People need to know how to do this. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm going to convert my front yard. I'm going to make videos showing how to convert my front yard, how to put it in the garden step by step so that people could do it if they want.
Right.
I mean, this is like before the time that people were really into gardening and stuff, so I was probably on the cutting edge because at one time my gardening channel was the largest on YouTube. Now it's just, like I do my own thing because like my goal on YouTube isn't to like make $1 million. Like I don't need YouTube's ad money. I'm not here to get popular. I'm just here to share the message and share what I'm doing in an educational format and sharing all the information. That's why my videos tend to be a little bit long because I try not to leave too much out because I think, life is not going to happen. Like people are not going to improve their lives by a 1 minute short or 30-second short. Hey, I love shorts, but like there's a lot more information. And when you don't have all the information you need, you're not going to be optimally successful. So that's why I started my gardening channel because they didn't teach me how to do it. And then the next thing, my OK Raw channel, that's my raw foods channel. Why I started that one is because I was really pissed off. I get pissed off. I was really pissed off at kelp noodles because I was at the trade show and like people were using kelp noodles and people still use a lot of kelp noodles in raw foods. Yeah. And I'm like, they're promoting kelp noodles as like made out of kelp, which it's kelp noodles. Yes. I mean, they basically take kelp, they process and get this white powder out of it, sodium alginate, and then basically put it with water and then extrude it through a machine. And then they have kelp noodles, but it's basically a highly processed food that raw food is for whatever reason. One person started to use it, so everybody started using it, and it's raw, and it's good. People using it. Basically, I mean, to me, it's like you're eating plastic, but hey, that's just my personal opinion on that. I mean, yes, it's still from a natural, it's derived from kelp, but it's like taking sugar cane, squeezing out the, the white sugar crystals, putting that with water, and then extruding it into something, and then, that's what it is. So, like, that's not the same. So I encourage people to eat real seaweed. They have this stuff called sea spaghetti from Europe, that looks like spaghetti. That's really real seaweed that grows in like long strands. But anyways, my first video on my channel, or one of the first ones, was I really got some kelp noodles, and then I got like what looked like the sodium alginate, which is a white powder. I literally sat in the ocean in Marin County, California, and pulled kelp out of the ocean. This is kelp, guys. This is kelp noodles. Are they the same? No. Stop eating this shit.
Oh my God, I love it. Oh, that is so funny. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that video didn't get a lot of views, and it's probably lost in the annals of YouTube these days. But at least I put it out there because that's an important message for me to share.
I love that. I love that. But that's kind of why I show up on a daily basis too. I'm so angry about the food system and the drug system and how intimately intertwined they are, and how people are staying so sick and people are getting so sick. And there's so many environmental toxins and stuff out there that are messing with our hormones, and it's in our food, it's in the package of the food that, the food is packaged in. Like they're everywhere. And like once I had my son, like almost 6 years ago, I was like at a next level. I was like, don't touch him. Like only give him linen. Like I like went off the deep end. Like, don't, like only natural fibers. Like because it's just people, like the cancer rates are going up. diabetes, like hyperlipidemia, like people are just so much stress and so much pressure to, you know, get everything done fast. And like, I think that's how food is for so many people these days. Like they aren't even thinking about the food that they're eating or what they're eating at their next meal, you know, let alone slowing down enough to grow their own food and to really make that connection. That's like a whole other, it's just a whole other existence. And I really, really encourage people, it's not too late to start your garden this year, regardless of where you live. It's not too late. Somebody asked, so does sodium alginate come from brown seaweed?
I mean, I did research on it years ago. It comes from a seaweed, basically. They basically put it through some chemical process, actually, is what the research, if my memory serves me correct, which I'm pretty good. They put it through a chemical process to basically extract this white powder out of the kelp. I mean, people could look it up online how they do this. But I was really looking at a lot of different research. And I mean, it like, once again, it's derived from seaweed, so it is natural, but it's just highly processed, and you're losing the main benefits of the seaweed, in my opinion, including a lot of the different fibers, especially some of those soluble fibers, you know, fukuoiden, you know, that got popular in Japan. The different kind of trace minerals are like disappeared. Different vitamins, you know, disappeared. Phytochemicals have disappeared. You know, there's different kinds of auxins and all these different properties in seaweed. They're just gone when you process the hell out of it. So,
right.
You know,
what do you think about sea moss, John?
That's up to them. You know, I choose to eat real seaweed. Actually, there's the same company, Sea Tangle, actually. They make a seaweed, like it's salted seaweed. So it's fresh salted seaweed in the similar package as the kelp noodles. Now, it's not noodles, but that's what I choose to use instead. Yeah. You know, I wash out really well first, of course.
Yeah, I'm sure it's pretty. Yeah, somebody asked if you can repeat that. Sea Tangle kelp noodles, right? Well, I mean, they're not the kelp noodles. Do you know what the Sea Tangle real things are?
I mean, it's just, I could get it out of my kitchen if you want to wait a minute.
Hey, yeah, sure. Go get it.
All right.
And yeah, we'll wait. I'm Googling it right now because I want to see what John's talking about. But you know, John said that these noodles aren't really like noodles, and that's okay, because guess what we could do? We could probably take this kelp that he's going to show us and mix it with zucchini noodles or zoodles or cucumber noodles or koodles and make it kind of like a pasta, I'm sure. You could always, you know, take a ribbon, just like a hand slicer, and create noodles that way if you don't have a spiralizer. Okay, what's it called? What's it called?
I mean, this is just Sea Tangle. Once again, the same brand. It's pretty much the same packaging, but if you look inside there, it's just basically seaweed
that
and
looks
salt.
Good.
And the ingredients are seaweed, papillosa, blue, red, agar, seaweed, stem, sea string, Gulf wheat, kelp, montangy, salt to preserve. I mean, this is this real stuff, guys. This is seaweed, has all the minerals in there. I mean, wash off the sodium. That's not good.
Right.
They do that to preserve it so they don't have to dry it or do anything else, which then that's a whole different topic. When you start drying seaweed, you may lose the B12 content and nutrients change. So, I mean, yes, salted is just one way of preserving it. But I soak it under a vacuum usually for about 30 minutes, and then I rinse it really well, and pretty much I get the majority, almost all the salt out. But yeah, this is the same company that makes the kelp noodles. They have actually a real seaweed product, which I do advocate for.
Yeah, I wonder, okay, so that's so interesting because we know about agar in the powder, agar.
Yeah, they got seaweed. I think they put the whole seaweed in there. I don't know, there's like, if I open this up, I mean, let's see if I could, you can't really see in there, but there's all these different colors of seaweed in there. There's like a red one, there's like a white one. I mean, once again, we want to eat diversity in our diets for our microbiome. I mean, this will give you about 5 different kinds of seaweeds right there.
That's amazing. And then you're getting your iodine, which
iodine, very important, yes.
thyroid health. And so, John, are you eating? Well, somebody, hold on. Let's address this question. Somebody asked about do you or I have any criticism about indoor mushroom growing? What are your thoughts?
Today I bought some indoor mushrooms. I mean, hey, you know, here's the thing. Like I got the raw perspective on mushrooms and not, but like, I mean, here's the thing. Whether it's indoors or outdoors, mushrooms are still one of the healthiest foods on the planet that are just not eating enough of, in my opinion. I mean, would I rather have outdoor wild harvested mushrooms from a guy that knows what the heck he's doing? Absolutely. But do I think indoor mushrooms, especially when exposed to UV light, could be high in vitamin D and beneficial for us as well and have some of the same properties as outdoor grown could? Yes. I haven't looked up the data on that actually specifically. But I'm happy to, I mean, most of the mushrooms I buy, except for some wild ones I get occasionally, chanterelles, are like all indoor grown. And I'm fine with that. I've visited mushroom farms. I've seen how they grow it. It's very clean, sterile, because if they didn't have it clean and sterile, the mushrooms would be contaminated and they wouldn't grow. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not super particular about that. One day I hope to live in a place that I could have outdoor mushrooms growing.
Well,
myself.
I mean, I think your whole series needs to be on how to grow indoor mushrooms and how to use the UV light to fortify it with vitamin D, right? You can have one balloon. Yeah,
that's the easy part. Even if you buy cut mushrooms after they're cut and you buy them at the store, just put them in the sun, or you could use UV light. That'll increase the vitamin D according to the the research out there.
Yeah, love that. Somebody was asking you, somebody said enzyme 333 said, which enzyme you're in the. Are you in the bundle too? I don't know you yet, but anyways, he said, I love Irish moss. I want to know your thoughts too. I was going to ask you, what do you think about sea moss?
So, I mean, Irish moss, what is it? It has that one thing in there that, in high quantities may not be the best for us because it might have some negative health effects in there.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but
anyways, but I think in normal amounts, if it's not like in every meal, you're eating it maybe once or twice, a week or something. I mean, the goal is not like, I mean, I think that it could be helpful and good. And actually, I probably need to eat more Irish moss because I rarely eat it myself and I'd like to incorporate it more. But I think too much of a good thing could be a bad thing. Whatever it is, whether it's fruit or vegetables, because you're just getting imbalanced. So I think that's what I think.
Yeah. It's super high in iodine, which we talked about is beneficial with seaweed. And some doctors out there in the lifestyle medicine and plant-based world are saying, well, seaweed's a great source of iodine. We should be eating it. But then some are saying, well, we can't rely on it for for a source of iodine because each different type of seaweed has a different level, which is awesome because you have that blend. So that's really good. But Irish, from what I know about Irish sea moss, in which I almost bought some today, and I've been looking at the dried, for probably a good year now, asking myself, do I want to make my own gel? Do I want to incorporate this into my life on a normal basis or try it out? Because I know it's like, there's like 90 trace minerals in there. It's like really high in so many different trace minerals. So that's something that I haven't yet incorporated, but I did almost buy like a $40 jar today. I was like, no, I could probably make my own. But hold on, my son is interrupting me. No, you may not. No, you may not. He knows exactly when to try to ask me questions when I'm on a thing to have me say yes, but I'm not going to. No, I'm on the top. Nope, no thank you. Okay. He wants me to make Datorade. So anybody out there that has kids, because I said no. Anybody that has kids out there, you don't have to feed them Gatorade. They can get electrolytes from coconut water or Datorade. You could make your own Datorade with dates and lemon and blend it up with water. If you feel like they need sodium or their electrolyte is off, you could add some of that in there, but we love it. We just call it lemonade really around here. But I actually think I might add that recipe into my contribution, because what you do with mine, the raw energy reset, it's just a link to a Google Doc that has my recipes in there and information, again, scientifically, of what's happening to your body when you eat whole plant foods. And I can add recipes to it. So I've been thinking about a few more recipes that I want to add. I'm thinking about a blackberry, like, I'm sorry, not blackberry, a wild, what's it called? Black raspberries. Black raspberries. Black raspberries that I actually picked last year, and they've been sitting in my freezer. I have a very large amount of them, and they're so good. And I've been thinking about, like, the perfect thing to make for it. So I was thinking about some sort of just blended and strained type of, like, drizzle people could use for, like, nice cream or whatever, or even, like, on salad. That would be really good. Maybe mixed with some tahini or something. But there's a few more recipes that I want to add. I'm thinking that, and probably the Datorade or just lemonade. Yeah, and I'm really excited. So anybody, do you have any duckweed, or are you into duckweed? Isn't that also chicory, or not chicory, but what's the other word for that? Do you know?
Well, they sell it under lentine powder, actually, online. And so, like, duckweed is amazing. I'm not growing it myself here, but I think, you know, if you grow it in an uncontaminated way, I mean, it's a superfood right there. You know, I mean, it's shown to have B12, super high in protein. I mean, it's basically it's a protein powder in a food. It's a whole protein powder if you dry the stuff, and they sell that as a lentine powder out there. So, I mean, I'm a big advocate for, I need to eat more of that, actually, myself.
Do you have a freeze dryer, John?
So due to legal reasons, I can't answer that question because a certain company, I had to sign an agreement with them so that I wouldn't be sued in court.
Okay. Hey, well, alrighty then. Because I think that freeze drying, you know, we grow like microgreens and microgreens for the farmer's market and other greens and produce. And we've thought about how awesome it would be to grow enough microgreens to be able to freeze dry them. We got a freeze dryer last year to, like, you know, broccoli sprouts or broccoli microgreens, and to make a powder out of that. It would be so awesome and so healing. Somebody asked, John, are you going to sell more plant starts or cuttings?
Yeah, it's rare. I actually got some fig trees that I'm going to sell here pretty soon, but it's rare that I sell anything because I'm just always so busy. And, like, I mean, if I sell anything, it's because I want to get it out to people, not because I need the money.
Yeah.
Or I'm a plant hoarder. I need to get rid of some so I can make room for new stuff.
That too. I can definitely understand that one. That's what happens when you guys start growing your own food. It's going to be incredibly empowering, and you're going to be like, wow, that was really fun. What else can I grow? And then you're going to get, like, the Baker Creek heirloom garden book, and you're going to be like, oh my God, I need all of it. And then you're not going to be able to stop. I'm so jealous, John, that you live somewhere that you can grow pretty much year round, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean, right now, I actually, today, right before our call, I was like, I got to harvest more lettuce to juice because I could show you my garden here. I mean, it's just.
You've got you probably came back from, like, a produce haul, and you probably bought a lot of produce, did you?
Oh, I could actually walk around with the camera. Let's see, I'll flip the camera around so I can see what I'm showing. So this is all my, like, flowering cilantro right now. I got to harvest that back and juice it all. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And then I have some beans that are dried up on the vine there somewhere. Some fresh ones still, the purple potted peas. And then this is the bed I was, like, sitting right in front of. This is all, like, I got some radicchio, endive, like, lettuce mixed in, but then it's all, like, flowering brassicas, so, like, bok choy and Napa cabbage. And then this bed I've interplanted, like, the garlic in between the lettuce, and you can see all the empty spaces. That's because that's where I cut all the red lettuces out. But I still have all the, like, trout speckle lettuce stuff, like, just so many heads. Boom, boom, boom. I have like over 50 heads of lettuce I got to be using here because it's starting to bolt.
Have you ever grown wasabi lettuce?
I've grown wasabi arugula. I didn't know they had a wasabi lettuce.
Yeah. Let me see. I'll have to look it up. Okay, okay. I know you've grown so many things.
Yeah, so got a lot of work to do in the garden. That's just, I mean, every day I wake up, I'm like, okay, what do I got to harvest today? What do I got to process today? What am I going to eat today? Luckily, yesterday I harvested a bunch of lettuce and spinach and actually some of my endive. I made a really good salad with like a tomato-based dressing. Is like so delicious. I can't wait to eat it. Actually, maybe after this call, I might eat my salad and then get back out and juice later in the evening.
Yeah. I haven't grown chicory successfully yet. So radicchio or endive, haven't done that yet. I feel like that's kind of a harder crop. That's called a cole crop. And people can, if you want to like start a good farm business and sell at the farmer's market, people would probably buy a lot of radicchio and endive if you can grow it well. So there's just a fun tip. But yeah, I looked it up. Wasabi lettuce is just a mustard green in the brassica family. And I tried it. Yeah, I tried it at my friend's garden. She lives in Santa Monica, California. And like, it was so good. It was like a delicate wasabi flavor. It was a soft leaf, and it was really awesome. So I'm thinking about how it would be really good mixed with like raw nori sheet and, you know, kind of into like some sort of sushi bowl. I think that would be awesome and yummy. But John, thanks for the talk. Anything else that you want to like add about the bundle? I want to let you get back to gardening. I know how long it takes. And Enzyme asks, favorite wild greens. What are your favorite?
I mean, let's see, favorite wild greens. Let me think about that for a minute. I mean, there's so many. It depends. My favorite wild green is the one that's like totally right there, right in front of me right now. I mean, I love stinging nettles a lot, actually. That's one of my favorites.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
Let's see, what else is there? Oh, I mean, I'm really particular to mallow. So, like, mallow leaves are really just nice and neutral to me. I grow like a tree mallow, like, intentionally.
Yeah.
It actually has really nice leaves. Yeah. I mean, of course, purslane, it just started to weed in my garden. Oh, I like magenta spring lamb's quarters or just lamb's quarters in general. I'll just the tops. I mean, they're really nice. Yeah.
I love purslane. I love purslane so much. It's morel mushroom season here.
Oh, wow.
Have you ever had a morel?
No, because these are a more recent introduction to my diet, because for a long time I didn't eat mushrooms because they're a fungus and they're not good, and in general you shouldn't necessarily eat mushrooms raw. But now that I'm heat processing foods, actually one of the reasons why I started heat processing foods was that so that I can include mushrooms in my diet, because in most cases they shouldn't be eaten raw in any larger amounts. So, but yeah, no, I'd love to try them for sure. I've had chanterelle, but not morel.
Morel, you gotta try. You've got to try. If I find them, John, like I try to go hunting every year, I will send you a morel mushroom in the mail, and we'll just cross our fingers that it stays good enough. They look like grains. Like it's a very unique, like you can't mistake it, mushroom, and it literally tastes like steak. It is very bizarre, and they're very good. They're better than steak. They're so good. But you're right. Like I actually just recently heard maybe it was like in the Real Truth About Health conference, or maybe it was in the Food Revolution conference. Or Food Revolution Summit. I did hear, and I do agree with you, like mushrooms, they should be cooked. Like you should not be eating them raw. That king oyster mushrooms actually don't contain like acrylamide in the same way that other mushrooms do. So they actually are fine raw. I just found that out. So that's something it wouldn't
be acrylamide. It'd probably be agaratine or another mushroom compound, but I'm not so sure if you were going to eat raw mushrooms, the ones I would eat is shiitakes personally. But
Yeah.
I recommend just heat processing your mushrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
At
breaks
least
down fibers,
putting it.
toxins.
How do you heat process it? Are you just putting it in hot water, warm water?
The only way I cook food, because my stove is still disconnected as a raw vegan, I only have an Instant Pot. So that's the only way I heat process my food is with water.
Mm-hmm.
Enzyme says he freeze dry mushrooms and they're insane, and I could say they're amazing.
That's crazy. I'm gonna have to message you, Enzyme, and get the recipe for that, because I have all the things that I want to try out in the freeze dryer, like literally all the things. I'm very excited about it. But we actually got it because I was trying to make a product with our elderberry syrup that we have for our business. So trying to figure out a vegan something that kids can take for people that want them to have elderberry. So John, it was so nice to meet you. You guys get the bundle. Don't miss out on this Ultimate Raw Vegan bundle. I'm going to have John back on my podcast. He doesn't know that yet, but he's going to come back and we're going to talk about his life more, because I want to know what a day in the life of John Kohler looks like, because I feel like it's kind of dreaming to me, focusing on food, focusing on gardening, getting, prioritizing bulk produce, all the things that us foodies really appreciate. So anyways, John, thanks for all your work, and thanks for chatting and showing us your garden and giving us your insight and wisdom on whole natural living. And guys, get the bundle. Don't miss out. So amazing. And we will talk soon, John.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Enjoy your endive.
Thanks.